If you have clicked on a link and found yourself here, then you likely are interested or at least curious about becoming an unarmed or armed security guard, executive protection officer, or traffic officer, aka UPO, for Lewis & Clark Traffic Control and Security LLC. You may have seen or obtained our company information at a job fair, from one of our business cards, job advertisements, or maybe someone referred you to us. From whatever direction you came, I'm glad you found us. First, let me tell you about our company and founder, so you will know a little about us, how we started, and our corporate philosophy. Hopefully then, you will have the information necessary to decide if you may be a good fit and want to move forward, or choose to work for a different company in this occupational field. Either way, I believe you will find this video useful, especially if you are completely new to this occupation and the licensing process. While watching the video, you can pause it at any time. The introduction is several minutes in length, so if you've seen the introduction before, feel free to jump ahead to the meat and potatoes of this video. Meat and potatoes. That sounds so good. I've been working long hours, and it's about time to sit down and eat. And I really do enjoy a hearty, high-protein meal. Sorry, I'm getting off point, so I digress. Okay, now, Lewis & Clark Traffic Control and Security LLC was founded in January of 2021 by Gary Moore, who retired as a police officer just a few months prior to forming his company. Our home office is in Lakewood, and we have an office in downtown Seattle. We operate in 4 different geographical areas of Western Washington: King, Pierce, Snohomish, and Thurston Counties. Gary is a born and raised Native Alaskan and worked his entire law enforcement career in the northernmost region of Alaska, the North Slope Borough. Gary has a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Management, is a veteran of the U.S. Army, and was a paratrooper in the Alaska National Guard. He has also owned and managed his own apartment rental business for 30 years in 4 cities and towns in Alaska. After retiring, Gary decided he wanted to try and work entirely for himself and establish a company whose services he respected, he was highly knowledgeable of, and experienced in. In addition to the reasons mentioned, he chose this line of work for his private company because he believes that traffic control and security, armed and unarmed, and executive or VIP protection all provide a vital service to customers. And he also wanted to create a company atmosphere that makes it a respectable and great company to work for. So, why was the name Lewis & Clark chosen? After all, neither is Gary's last name, and being the sole founder, he could have just named the company after himself. But he didn't. After much pondering, Gary decided to name his company after adventurers and trailblazers of the past, who risked everything in their quest to explore the most western wilderness areas of the country, and who Washingtonians are familiar with. According to www.americaslibrary.gov, Meriwether, Lewis, and William Clark are best known for their expedition from the Mississippi River to the West Coast and back. The expedition, called the Corps of Discovery, was President Thomas Jefferson's visionary project to explore the American West. It began in May of 1804 and ended in September 1806. 217 years after Lewis and Clark began their great adventure, Gary felt he was in a much less threatening or hostile environment than was faced by the rugged explorers Lewis and Clark. However, he felt he was in similar circumstances of a different era, and that instead of replacing his police officer work boots for sandals on a beach, he put on a new pair of boots and stepped into the private sector arena of Washington State with both feet. Gary invested his retirement savings into establishing the company, and is working anew at a chance to chop out a niche for himself in this already established field in Western Washington, and work hard and intelligently to achieve success. Gary's company philosophy or core values is to provide a service that is exceptional in training and service, professional in appearance, and exceeds customer expectations in everything we do. He expects that he, his administrative team, and all employees of the company to be respectful, truthful, and ethical to others, regardless of race or social and economic status, and hold ourselves to a higher standard than the norm. Just as important, though, be accountable at every step. So once Gary decided on his company name, incorporated the business, established the company philosophy, and formed the perimeters of where and how he would operate the company, he was off and running. Well, sort of. Maybe stumbling along the way through a maze of unknown and unpredictable circumstances is the best description. You see, Gary started his business while the country was in the midst of the COVID pandemic. He did not have a crystal ball to foresee just how long it would end up lasting, which greatly slowed his entrepreneurial objective when dealing with closed or reduced hours of government offices. It was imperative that he interact with various government agencies to get the company fully certified, licensed, and insured. However, he did not let that major hurdle dampen his spirit or stop his entrepreneurial drive, as he marched onward in the face of heavy competition and a swamp of governmental bureaucracy. In this ever-changing world, Gary strives to be a positive, adaptive force, like water flowing over a rocky stream, and ever forward-thinking. He wholeheartedly believes in not looking back or regretting the path chosen, but rather marching forward and over any obstacle in his path, to obtain success for him, our customers, and the employees of the company, who are the tip of the spear for obtaining economic viability and company longevity. To keep the company profitable while keeping costs reasonable for his customers and wages at a livable level, he utilizes modern technology to the greatest extent possible to find and hire the best people, market the business, and manage employees. This video is just one of those examples. I know your time is valuable, and I'm sure you already have dedicated a significant portion of time and energy to searching the internet and applying for work in this field and many others. Therefore, I will be as concise as I can as we cut a path through the forest of government regulations for security guard licensing. Let's begin with the topic of what is required to become an unarmed security guard. When you apply for work with Lewis & Clark or any other Washington-based security company, you will of course submit your resume and a short cover letter explaining why you are interested in working for us. You will also need to submit your current or former employer's supervisor's contact information, valid Washington state driver's license, and proof of vehicle liability insurance. You can submit them to us via email at lewisandclark21@outlook.com. If you already have an unarmed guard license that is not expired, please submit that also. If you previously held an unarmed security guard license that is now expired, please advise our office manager of that information. She can help you get it renewed. If it cannot be renewed, you will have to retake the training, pay the fees, and apply for a new license. You can find all that information at the Washington State Department of Licensing at www.dol.wa.gov. Once on the DOL website, look for the subtitle Professions. There, you will have several options, which are renew your professional license, get a professional license, look up a professional or business license, and set up account access. Click on the option that best suits your current situation. If you have never set up an account, click on Set Up Account Access. Once there, click on the highlighted and underlined link, Professional and Business Licensing Service. The page that opens will be where you will set up your Secure Washington Access SAW account. Once your SAW account is set up, then call our office manager, who will help you get set up for your security guard training class, schedule you for fingerprinting, and a criminal background check. Please keep in mind that to be an unarmed security guard, at a minimum, you must be at least 18 years old, a resident of Washington State, and be eligible to work in the U.S. If you are interested in applying to be an armed security guard or executive protection officer, you will follow the same steps as an unarmed security guard on the DOL website, but you will choose to obtain an armed security guard license. Additionally, unless you have a LEOSA, you will need to obtain a firearm certificate. Contact our office manager and she will help set up the firearm training for you. Please note, you will need to have your own firearm, ammunition, and holster and pay the required fees. You will also need to be at least 21 years old. For those interested in becoming a traffic officer, you will need to be a commissioned police officer working part-time, a retired police officer, or have a minimum of 5 years law enforcement experience. If you choose to carry a weapon while working traffic, You will also need a LEOSA or firearm certificate in addition to the minimal employee requirements listed above. If you plan to carry your weapon concealed while working as an executive protection or traffic officer, you will also need to have a LEOSA or apply for concealed carry permit. To find out how to do that, go to www.southsound911.org and click on the link that says Concealed Pistol Licenses. Follow the steps outlined. Finally, if you are notified that you are being considered to be added to our employment roster as an unarmed security guard, you will be required to take a short typing and reading and writing comprehensive test. If you submit all your documentation and pass the tests, then you will be added to our employee roster and asked to complete the standard I-9 and W-4 forms. Once you are added to our employment roster, it does not guarantee a job immediately. Further, we currently do not have full-time positions available, only temporary or part-time, but are working diligently towards that goal and will advise our employees of that change if or when it happens. As such, until that time, you are strongly encouraged to work for other companies in addition to our own if possible. That's it, you're good to go. Thank you for your time. I hope that you feel this has been beneficial. If you run into problems with the licensing process, you can call DOL directly at 360-664-6611 or call our office manager and she will do her best to assist you. Good luck!